Okay. Well, it sounds like this week could get really kind of steamy. I woke up this morning, just woke up. Well, actually, I woke up, I heard the car next door start. So I was thinking, okay, it's like a big diesel truck. So it's like, oh, so it must be morning. He must be on his way headed to work. So by the time I got up, because it was running and running and running, and I was just like laying there for a while. So I get up. It was like 4 in the morning. But anyways, I felt like I was rested. So I just got up. And Stella still, these days when they just hit us nonstop with this rain and stuff, and whatever's in the rain too. I'm not sure what all goes on with what they do, like with the chemicals in the air, then they rain, bring it all down. And yesterday I was out, I keep going out still, working on my project of, doing my little patio out there, fixing up this whole little area. And so when I was out there, it's been all winter, so I'm out there cleaning because I already had it set up like it was built in, this whole little outdoor kitchen area. So I was out there cleaning it because I'm going to do this other furniture and I'm going to sand it and stain it. And I've got this whole thing set up. I just love it. I'm just so excited about it. I can't even believe it. And I keep going to the window and looking out, or go stand on my porch and look. I just really, really like it. But when I was over there cleaning, this stuff is on everything. Whatever this stuff is. And I know there's people who are, oh, well, that's just pollen. That's why you're sneezing. It's pollen. No, it's not pollen. It is a mix of stuff. You have to go in and start realizing that they're spraying chemicals on us, that is creating other atmospheres in the sky. They're all doing this artificially. And they're spraying stuff on us, and they're using the rain as a carrier. I can't think of what that's called, but they use the water to carry the poison to get on us. And so every time when they do all of this stuff, it's so artificial. Stella just really struggles. Oh my gosh, she's having a hard time right now. Such a hard time. So, but I was on TikTok this morning. Sometimes I kind of feel evil because some of the stuff that people will say, well, they're just so angry and they're so outraged and they're saying some of the stuff that is so absurd and they're just, oh, they're so mad about it. I'll just start cracking up. I don't know why. I feel like I'm crazy evil person, but it is really, it's hilarious, even though it's sad and it's, there's so much pain that is going on right now with people realizing, but the stuff is so absurd. There's so much absurdity. I mean, I know that this is all just an awakening. I know we're really not going into this world that everybody is fearing. And I wish that we could get everybody to focus on the best outcome and not give energy to their stuff. I heard yesterday too that, they're really pushing on the food fear thing, but that out of the 19 that have been destroyed, there's way, way more than that. It wasn't just like we had 19. So it's kind of part of their fear. It's just so much about creating fear. And it's so that they can harvest or harness this energy that we put out when we're scared and when we are anxious and when we're living in fear. And I don't know how all of this stuff works. Like I said, with the medicine, it's weird how they come up with anti-anxiety medicine, but really they're living off of that. They're selling that energy. So I don't know. I'm sure there's something more to it. Just like there's something more to every single thing that they do is, it's not ever what it seems to be. Yesterday, I watched David Wilcock, and he just cracks me up. Oh, that guy cracks me up. But I definitely got a lot of confirmation again Just like the day before when I watched the Allison Coe thing, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much confirmation to me of what, that I'm being shown or told or however, you think of it. And then the same thing yesterday when I was watching his, I was like, oh, this is a lot of confirmation for me, again, to myself. So, he cracks me up with his, I don't know, he's a character. But so some of the stuff he was saying, the stuff that I was, feel so, maybe I'm more out of it than I think. I still feel like I'm just like living in a dream. Nothing seems real. Like what I used to think of as being real, it doesn't seem real anymore. I just always feel like I'm in a dream, in like almost where you could wake up from the dream, or that, the dream could end if I wanted it to end. You know what I mean? I don't feel so much trapped in this world. Like it seems like so many people feel trapped. But I think it's part of, that's what he was talking about. Yeah. It is about kind of, he kept calling it something else. But to me, it's like this path towards enlightenment. And he was talking about, which I was surprised he just got divorced, because I thought he had just gotten married. But a lot of people are understanding different things about relationships than we used to understand. And people are getting married. They're starting to understand, like, they are getting married to people. And then they're seeing, like, hey, we don't even have anything in common. Like, why did we even get married? Because it's just expected. People just expect, you're in a relationship, well, then it's leading to marriage, or it's leading to this, or whatever. People just don't let things just be. So, but that's part of our programming too. So it's not like people are doing anything wrong. It's just part of the programming, and part of the waking up is to see what part of the programming that you just follow automatically. And then when you think about the programming you follow, then you have to go back and think about like the rules, and why am I following these rules, and what am I going outside of myself for anyone to make my rules? You got to learn to trust yourself and to believe in yourself so that you make your own rules. But he was talking about this like path to enlightenment, but he was calling it something different. And he was saying that he's been living alone since September in a cabin, not going and seeing people often, needing to go to the store sometimes or whatever. But basically living like how I've been living because mine started April, when I got back from Costa Rica. It was a few weeks after, because I had tickets to go to that show, and that was May 15th in Bellingham, where I was supposed to go to that. So I had tickets to that, and they closed down. I'm pretty sure it was the beginning of April, and we just got back from Costa Rica, and I had those tickets, and I thought, maybe it will really only be 2 weeks. Maybe it will only, and I'll still get to go. So it was in the beginning of April for sure. So, I've been living like how he was saying since September. I've been living like that since April of 2020. And so this is May of 2022. So I've been living in that isolation that, to me, and I was talking about this from the very beginning, this is, it's been so profound in my spiritual growth, because when you don't have other people around you talking to you, you do hear the other beings that are around you, your team, your higher self, your what did he say? I think he said something about that you have some sort of a team that is there helping you through the stuff. But that's the same thing kind of like with guides and stuff. It always happens when I'll think like I can remember everything, and then I go to sleep, and it's like there's something about this blank slate that happens when I go to sleep. It reminds me of when I had seen that Drew Barrymore movie, I think it's called 40 First Dates. And she would do that. Like, she would go to sleep, and in the morning it was like a blank slate. Mine's not as blank as hers, but definitely when I go to sleep, I forget things. They're just completely gone. It's weird. But a lot of times I can't even remember an hour later. But at night, it just seems like they just go in and sweep it all up. Like, oh, you don't need that. It's remnants of nothing. So, anyways, he was talking about like this enlightenment, and he was saying that he's even working on telekinesis. He was saying a lot of stuff that I have said before about, he was talking about the wanderers, and about, I think it's like 65 million of us who are here to bring in these other newer ideas or something. Like, but the weird thing is I just never realized. Like, before, when I was younger and I knew I was different, but I thought that was because something was wrong with me. And then as all this stuff has happened, and then you start reevaluating, like, well, that's weird, because all the stuff that I was saying before, now all of a sudden it's becoming the truth for people. Like, stuff that I knew a long time ago that I was trying to tell people, but people wouldn't listen. It's just weird, because you go for so long feeling like something's wrong with you. You're crazy. You can't fit into this world. And then the world just switches, and it's not even fully switched yet. It's like I can see the switch occurring. I can see it's the upside down going the other direction, because it has already started in my life. All the things that I thought of that didn't make sense, now during the 2020, a lot of it started making sense, where I started seeing like, oh, there's stuff I know, but they've been blocking it. They don't want people to know what I know. And why is it that I know this stuff? How is it that I felt so sure of myself? Why wasn't I being misled? And those of us who we do carry that energy. It's for now. It's for right now. What's going on is to help people now to understand stuff that was hidden from them. And I think there's a lot of different people with a lot of different stuff, whatever my stuff is, that would be individual for each person. It would be anybody who would listen to me. It's what they get out of it. And the important thing is, I feel, is us to speak out, for us to say stuff so people can go out and have new information, because there has been such a strict indoctrination programming, and they tried it. I mean, it was tried on me. They tried to force me to think a certain way and behave a certain way. And, I was made fun of. I was called names. I was bullied, all of it, from the very fucking beginning. But I didn't let it, I just knew in my own heart, in my own soul, I knew I was right. I knew that they were lying. I couldn't understand. I know I say this all the time. It's just really, really weird when, as much as what people are starting to realize about this world and how fake it is and how they've been misled, and it is that kind of, I heard somebody yesterday saying, if you want to know what waking up is like, in Erin Brockovich, when she's sitting there talking to the one lady on the couch, and the kids, you see them out in the pool playing in the water, and Erin Brockovich is trying to tell her about that they knew the water was poison. They've been lying to them the whole time, and the woman's like, no, and all of a sudden it just sinks in, and the woman all of a sudden gets it, and she looks outside and sees her kids in the pool, and she runs out and grabs them out of the water, because it's the water giving them the cancer. And it's that kind of, all of a sudden, the realization, oh, they're not trying to help us, they're trying to kill us. And when people have that, it's very like, what the hell is, it is very eye-opening. It's very attention-grabbing, and it just flips your whole world upside down, depending on how how structured your life was around the system, and how much you have to realize that everything was phony and fake. For me, it was definitely seeing that this stuff that I was saying and being made fun of, that it was right, that there was a campaign to shut us down, to keep us small, to keep us crazy. Even this whole thing with conspiracy theorists and stuff like that, that's all on top of that. I was getting, I don't remember if I would have been called, it seems like a lot of, in the beginning, a lot of the name calling, it was called a new ager. Oh, you're a crazy new ager. Like we were all a bunch of cult people or something. Like we were all crazy because we believed that there was a spiritual side to life. There was, I don't even remember, like, the things that for me was definitely reincarnation. Ghosts are real, aliens real, Bigfoot's real, everything is real. That all of this stuff is around us. Like, that was the kind of stuff. So I don't remember it being called conspiracy theorists. I remember just when you talk about aliens, that people would think you were crazy. If you talk about ghosts, it would be something that would scare people. Well, that's not real, but they're all scared of it. So I don't know when it started being conspiracy theorist. I think it started being more when people started talking about Illuminati or something. That's when I started hearing that more. I really don't think it had, I don't remember being called that a long time ago, but I sure the hell get called it a lot now by people who know me and stuff like that. You just get labeled. You're just a crazy conspiracy theorist. And I saw somebody yesterday. I've watched quite a few TikToks, and there's definitely a change in the energy, no doubt about it, to me. But somebody was talking about this with the conspiracy theories. Just flew right through. Something that, hopefully it'll come back to me, because I thought it was really, really interesting what they were saying. But I think that, for those of us who know this stuff is real, there's never been any question. Like, you couldn't have convinced me that it wasn't real, because I knew it was real. And, and I know that the reason why I'm in this house alone during all of this time was because I was supposed to be working on stuff that was just between me and spirit. This spiritual aspect of self. I was supposed to be doing this. So I was supposed to know that stuff was true. And I'm supposed to get to this part where I was focused on my own healing. And all of that stuff is just so I can help other people. It's not to make me like, oh, I'm better than you. I know this stuff or anything. I can just share my information and hope that I can help other people learn how to get out of the pain that people find themselves suffering in life, because it isn't necessary. It's all part of the programming to keep us small and to keep us, helpless. But for me, doing all of this work and becoming, to me, it's the path of enlightenment. I wish I could think of what he kept calling it. It was some kind of, he kept saying about Jesus and what Jesus was saying about, this healing, to get yourself to a point spiritually that you are, more advanced or whatever. But the whole point of ever becoming advanced is to help other people. It's never about this hierarchy that they've sold people. And I think a lot of people get in their mind that there is this hierarchy, like somebody's better than me. And especially right now, while this stuff is coming up with the spiritual stuff, like there's so many people who are trying to, there's a whole spiritual world out there that is kind of misleading people. They're not talking about healing and really being on the path to enlightenment. They're just talking about like who can have the most crystals, who can claim the most meditation hours, you know. It's not about that kind of stuff. It's not about this hierarchy. It's a true connection to your higher self, to your what you believe is your creator, which is your higher self. You're a creation of your higher self. Your higher self is a fractal, just as you are a fractal. Anything alive has an energy that is inside of it. And I would say a fractal because it doesn't take up our whole space that we exist in. It's just the power, the battery behind us, the energetic force that leads us. Oh, and there was another thing too I saw yesterday, and it was something about people coming out of their bodies or whatever it was, and that people don't realize that they don't need their brain, and they don't need their body. They think that they need these things to be real or to be whole, but you don't. When you come out of your body, you see that you're the exact same. You don't need your brain, you don't need your heart, you don't need any of that stuff. You're exactly the same. It's just like a different kind of looking realm or something. But, you know, I thought that was interesting that somebody was talking about that, because that's definitely true. I definitely went through that experience and saw. But I know all the experiences, all the things I've gone through is part of like my mission to help other people be able to understand and wrap their heads around this supernatural world that we've been existing in, that they've told you doesn't even exist. So it does really make you feel disoriented when you come into life with this new vision of what it is, and plus when you've been in denial of it. And you know, because it was very weird to me to have it flip all of a sudden and see like, oh, I'm not the crazy one. I'm the one who was sane enough to stick by my beliefs even when they called me crazy. And they've always used names. They've always used bullying techniques, because, you know, I've been claiming reincarnation and all that stuff for 40 years and been made fun of and laughed at. But now people are going to want to understand a lot more about reincarnation and why they're here and what does it have to do with living, and, you know, why do we keep coming in and going through these lives that we consider to be so horrible and horrendous and stuff. But see, that's all created. They create your life to be horrible and horrendous so that it gives it it's like if they create a horrible enough life, you know, life's so shitty, and then you are looking to them for answers, and they give you this, oh, look at this, we can take your consciousness, we can put it inside this other life that is perfect, that you live forever, that you can go on and do whatever you want. And how many people would just be like, oh yeah, well, it's got to be better if I have control in this virtual world, which you would never have control. Even right now, where they're saying that some of the people who have already gotten this, the nanobots inside them, that they can suddenly, you know, do something on the computer to start controlling these people. I don't know. It's an experiment, I know for sure. So I'm sure that they are trying. Could be what they're trying to do with the towers right now. Why it seems like they're going up and down, and why it seems like some days it's super strong and other days it's not. It's all part of the experiment. It's all part of them watching to see how we react and what we do. And I just saw a guy, and he was begging for help. He's only got 35% of his heart working. I would imagine probably, you know, but there's so much with the shed. So even if you didn't take it, if you're around people or anything, you're getting the same stuff. These people are smart. They are smart. The whole thing with all of these things is just adding in more and more and more and more and more. Let's see how far we can push them. I saw the freaking Gator Boy talking to Anderson Cooper yesterday. That guy is such a sellout, a piece of garbage. Oh my God, some of these people just makes you want to go through your phone and just smack them, makes you want to be able to go and say it right to their face what you think of them. These total garbage people, these people who, it doesn't matter if this is all an illusion. It doesn't matter if it's all a hologram. We come here to experience. Family and relationships and loss and figure out who we are. But when they're taking kids and babies and doing stuff to them, there's no excuse to me. There is no good or bad. It's what these people are here to experience. But this is, I don't know. It is in the world of the living world. It is, it's a horrible thing to go and take someone else's life and just put it out. Like you make the decisions over when this person dies or how they die and what is done to them in order to do that. And all these people that participate in these kind of ritualistic kind of societal norms, that it's okay to do certain things, like it's okay to do certain things if nobody's looking. There's always somebody looking. I don't know. It's so hard for me to even understand how people think or believe or anything, especially, because I just thought we were all, I really, until 2020, until all this happened, I really thought we all thought alike. I didn't even really put it all together that we were all living in completely different realities until after my awakening. Before that, it was just like everybody's just living their life, and some people got shitty end of the stick and some people got the good one. I didn't really get it to the point that I do now. Now I see it as different than I saw it back then. And now I see, I forgot what I was talking about. It's really bad. I feel so scattered. I'm really having a hard time keeping my thoughts straight right now. And it doesn't even feel like I don't feel like I'm all scattered like that. I feel like I'm clear, but obviously I'm not. But it really does seem like a lot of stuff is going to be going down this week. The name of the guy, I don't think we could say these two names together, but the guy over in Russia that starts with a P, he has already said now, he came out and said that the whole thing was a scam, that the T-Dog, he's really the one in charge, that this Joe is got no power at all. So he's put it out there. The Mule movie has put it out there. There's something with Durham right now. There's so much stuff that is going on. So I would think this week is going to get hairy. We're headed up to this WHO takeover thing. And no matter what they do to create more chaos and more fear, we just have to remember to stay centered and to put out as much as they're going to be putting in fear, put out love, and happiness, and just really keep focusing on your best outcome, your best, most desired outcome for your life. Just keep focusing on that and focusing on that, no matter what they try and pull on us. and they keep trying to pull us into fear and like they have all the control. Well, they don't have all the control. They only have the control if we believe they have the control, because we outnumber them by a huge amount. And they're trying to kind of like when Stella's being naughty, if I jump up and just stand up real quick, it's like magic to them. Like, oh, I'm a big, what they say to do to a bear. Well, I don't know. I think with some animals, I'm not sure which one. I don't think a bear. I think a bear, you're supposed to just tuck and roll, get yourself into a little fetus position. But there's some that you stand up and you get as big as you can and you make a lot of noise and you scream and yell. And that is scary to them. And I see it with Stella, that is freaky when all of a sudden you jump up and you do that. And I think that's what they're doing to us. They're trying to make us scared by them jumping up and doing that. Like they're so powerful, but really they're not. If we all just, got in our car and drove over to their house, it would be a traffic jam for days probably. They're way outnumbered. There's no comparison to who's got the power and the control. The whole thing is the people got to realize that we've got the power and the control. Right now, they're living in fear. They're living scared, like, oh, they've got control over our food. They've got control over, everything. But that's what we had to see. We had to see how much we had given over our power to these people and what they were going to do with it. We shouldn't have ever given it to them. But we had to learn about that. All these businesses, like right now, what's going on with the farmers who are, I don't know, how many of them are complying? How many of them are destroying their crops? How many of them are destroying their animals? How many of them are just giving over their property to the government? I don't know. I mean, that's gone on for a long time. The government trying to control the farms and control our food and control small business and buy it and, devour it all into a corporation. Take everything that we want and turn it into something that is bad for us. And so to me, all of this stuff is coming up, and it is kind of funny when you hear some of the people talk about it, because this stuff is so absurd and people are so angry and upset, and they're getting angry and upset at the people who aren't awake yet too. And then how do we know how many of these people really aren't awake? How many people who are the bullies who are going in and attacking those of us who are speaking out, how many of them are even really human? I mean, there's no way to know that. How many of them are just paid to go in and attack and frustrate us, to keep us, in that kind of, not fear, but definitely tension, when you keep trying to tell people certain things and you just keep getting called crazy and stuff like that is frustrating. It does get you to a point of like, what is the point? If they want to just go and, walk off the cliff and you're standing there screaming, stop, 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 and they don't want to listen to you, then what's the point? But I think that a lot of those ones that are doing that aren't real. I think there's so much more of people who are awake than what we think there are, especially on social media. I think a lot of that is just like paid opposition or something. They're just there to create this hostile kind of environment to keep people feeling hopeless, to keep people feeling like there's no hope. That's the only way they can keep their power, is to make us believe that they still have power. And I think they're going to show a hand of force, but really they don't have it. They don't have the kind of power that they believe. Even if they bring these people in and start clearing us out and taking us out of our houses, saying we have to, comply. It's a detrimental world pandemic situation and we all must do our part. There's so many people who are not going to. They're not they can say whatever they want. There's definitely people who are willing to lay their life down at this point for change. Nobody wants to be a part of this. And even the people who think they want to, it's just because they don't know what the hell's going on. They're just living in a state of confusion. But this whole implosion upon itself of everything coming together, there's so much stuff that is intersecting into this, giant pileup of information, of all of the darkness. They're all like colliding into one another. So even if they, like I was seeing today, something big's about to come out. Like they're not going to be able to stop it. Especially, when you have somebody else who's supposed to be in office and this other person is, and there's all this treason and stuff going on. Like there's shit's about to go down. But when it does, I keep hearing, that they're going to take down they're going to take down everything. The internet, the power grid, everything is just going to go like. But that has always been the speculation of that's when they're going to do the EBS. That's when it's just going to come on the TV and start telling the truth to people. So hopefully, I know it's not going to go into this. We're not going to go into Armageddon like what people think. Like it's just the Third World War and we're all going to be starved to death and all that. All that stuff has already been played out. We've already gone through it. This is supposed to be us seeing it. We have a historical background to what has happened before, and we can see what's happening now, and we should be able to look at history and understand it. But there's still people who don't. On Next Door, when I was trying to point that stuff out, no. And I really still believe, even talking to my neighbor the other day, and she was saying something, we were talking about the house behind us, because that there's people there all the time. That house was dilapidated. It was this old man living there who was a sick old man. That's how we got in the whole conversation about, well, now people who are 60 should have government housing so they can go live under government housing. And I was like, but in that conversation, we were talking about that guy and he died. And so now somebody bought his house for $140,000. 2 lots, 2 pieces of property, which is so crazy because when I had this one and the one next door went for sale, and I talked to the lender and I talked to the HOA, and I was going to pursue trying to get that other piece of property so I could have 2 next to each other. And the HOA said, no, you can't do that. And I'm pretty sure that there was some sort of restrictions too with the loaning thing. I can't remember all this stuff, but there was a huge amount where they said, no, you can't do that. You can't have 2 like that. You can't get a loan for that. And which is weird, right? Like, how did all of these different farmers and stuff be able to keep buying up more property around them? But then we get these restrictions. You can't buy the house next to you in your own neighborhood. I was like, okay, that's weird. But so I paid special attention when she started telling me that was a double lot and one guy got to buy it. And now to see it, he got it for below asking. They were asking $150, he got for $140. Although right now it's about to, the whole thing's about to blow up. The houses are dropping already, the prices of houses. And I saw, maybe it was David, I don't remember, but somebody's saying that if you want to be selling your house, you better hurry up and do it because it's already collapsing, which was always my fear. I don't want to say fear because it's not the same kind of fear. My concern was, well, I don't want to sell my house really, but then there's the whole thing of like, well, do I want to be in this area if it's just going to keep going like this? Do I need to move to a safer place? So, that was on my mind, especially every time I would say anything to anybody. It'd be like, well, you need to move. You need to move. I kept being like, I don't know. That's iffy. While the banks are collapsing, to sell your house and then to be able to get another one. I mean, you could be standing there holding a bunch of monopoly money and no house. That's what they want to do. I bet you there's going to be a lot of people that's going to happen to. They're going to sell their place, but the one they're trying to get is going to fall through because the banks aren't going to loan out the money. So it's just another way to keep people homeless, and they're building apartments like crazy. They just want to cram us all into these fucking apartments in these cities. And I saw a whole thing about that yesterday. I think it's one of these agendas, getting us all in these cram-packed in these little cities so that they can watch us with the CCTV or whatever. So they can watch our every move. They can monitor us. They can decide if we can have food or not. You know, this whole thing about your, it depends on how compliant you are, your rating. You know, if you're rated high, it won't even just be a credit scoring. It's going to be like a scoring of how you are with the government, if the government approves of you. And then people they don't approve of, their plan is just, you know, take them out. I saw a guy talking about, and this was, I think it was 2019. It was one of those forum places where they go to talk about how they're going to kill us all. And he was saying that they want to get it down to 1 billion people. And when they had started their plan, there was 4 billion. They wanted to get it down to 1 billion. And then this was a few years ago, and the guy said it was 7 billion. And now they really got to get it down there. They've got a lot of work to do, a lot of people that they need to kill. And they're enjoying every minute of it. I mean, they want to make it slow, you know. They want to enjoy it. They want you to buy as many pharmaceuticals as possible on your way out. But so this next door person that I started seeing, well, they're there all the time. The lights are on all the time. So who the hell is staying there? Like, this is certainly not some rich guy now who's coming in to tear this house down and build a nice house. They're obviously trying to fix this one. So I was saying to the neighbor, like, well, that's weird. So we'll wonder if they're going to just now rent it out. Just, you know, some low budget rental behind our houses. So, I mean, I don't know about in other places. I'm sure you can find some low budget families that are really struggling, who really want, you know, a home and that will work hard for it. But I don't see that around here. Very many rentals that are taken care of. Mostly the rentals just become ramshackle. They're just like slumlords. And that is one thing, too, that they really want to do is take down the rural communities and want to move us all into the city, which is weird that they're doing all this building right now. But it could be that they're just trying to spread the city in to this because I'm not rural enough. I'm not far enough out. But so back here where these guys are in there all day long and stuff and working on it. So she said she was going to talk to him, but she said that she thinks they're trying to flip it. So this ramshackle double wide trailer that has already been crushed by a tree, they're redoing it. Whoever's living back here now behind us, and the lights are on all day, all night. And I was like, maybe they're trying to keep the squatters out because we have so many squatters and so many homeless people out here, and they're mostly druggies. They just go around at night and steal stuff out of people's yards. And there's a big drug problem out here. And it has been for a while. And this is the bullshit, you know, where the government tries to say that they're there for us. Bullshit. You know about this stuff. You even make it where no cops even come out here. Even that one cop that I had come out here that day when the neighbors were threatening me. And he made like I was a crazy person, you know, that, oh, you're going to make a big deal out of the neighbors threatening you? What's wrong with you? And then he's the one who gets shot in the face. I guess you shouldn't go around with that cocky attitude, right? Thinking that the neighbors out here are all normal people. You should probably consider when somebody's telling you there's a lot of abnormal behavior out here with these people. You guess you should listen, not walk up in somebody's driveway all cocky and get shot in the face. And it's like, you know, people have got to learn how they're going to learn. He could have given some kind of empathy and compassion to what I was talking about, but he was all, you know, just cocky. But we don't have a lot of cops. That's why it's always so odd when I even see one, when I even see an ambulance or anything. It really stands out. This isn't like a neighborhood. This isn't like being in the city. And so when I'm saying, it's odd when there's a cop in the neighborhood, it's odd. It's very odd. And they don't, out here it's a free-for-all. Like when I very first moved out here and I saw people on next door talking about someone's in your yard, every comment was, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. It's like, what the hell? Well, that's why when I first came out here, I kept telling people, I moved to the Wild West. I don't know about this place. This is crazy. Everybody out here is ready for a shootout. And, but, so this guy back here, so the contractor is allowed to buy 2 lots that are together. And then whatever, if he's going to, flip this house and sell it to somebody else. So he's going to buy it for 140, do minimal work, turn around and sell it for 300. I hope this is mean, and I don't even know who the person is. And I don't mean to send out like bad thoughts or whatever towards somebody, but this stuff has to end. There has to be where some of these people lose their shirt. So, if he buys this place and he's trying to flip it and everything goes down, and then he's held, holding this place, it really has no value. Because if you're out trying to screw people over, when this stuff goes the other direction, you're going to be the one who's getting screwed over. Like, I'm really curious about what's going to go on with this 300 houses, this fella, and he's probably the same damn one who bought there. The house wasn't even on the market for more, it wasn't even a full day. It was sold within a couple hours. And because when I first moved to Spokane, my one daughter is 20, I think she's going to be 28 or 29. I don't know. She was born in 92. So when I moved to Spokane, I was pregnant with her. So that's how long I was living in Spokane until I came over here a couple years ago, because I moved here a year before quarantine. So all of my time in Washington State was being over in Spokane. But when we moved up from Southern California to Washington State, one of the big draws was because we were leaving there because of the traffic, and we wanted to buy a house, and the houses were almost $200,000 for just a little house. And that was a lot of money that long ago. Right now, for some house to be, $750,000, those same houses now are that, where you're paying $750,000. And but back then when they were 200,000, the economy, the amount people made, you still didn't have enough to buy a house like that. Like, this has been going on for a long time. That's what people don't get. They think that somehow the older people have destroyed the market, that we've done it out of our own greed. No, we've all been held like this. Like, it's amazing. I think, well, it's supposed to go back to the 50s, but when people were able to buy a house for $8,000, you didn't have to buy it on loans and stuff like that. And that's I keep hearing is what we're going to go back to, is a time when we don't need to have loans for banks, and we can make money, and we can exist, and we can get ahead. It's part of the system is to keep us small and helpless and hopeless. So these guys that are going in here and buying all this stuff up so that they can just make a lot of money. Like, I know this guy back here who is doing this plans for the 300 houses. And even for Whatcom County to send us out a whole questionnaire where we all had to put in our 2 cents. Well, there's a lot of reasons you can't fit 300 more houses in this. It's just so short-sighted. But I'm sure, I was talking about the Spokane. Yeah, so when I moved from Southern California to Spokane, the houses were like $12,000. It was so cheap. You could buy a house for $12,000, $20,000 was a lot of money for a house. The houses were dirt cheap, and they were cute houses. So we decided, well, we'll move up there. My husband had family he wanted to be closer to. So when we moved up there, we started going. We would go all day long. looking at houses. And no realtor would show you a house unless you went and drove by it. You couldn't just say, okay, come and take me and show me these houses. No, they were way too busy. They were all busy working with the contractors online. So all these people who had resources, who could just go in, and who knows how they structure this stuff, because they all have this way of juggling the money so that they can say, buy this stuff online without ever. And I ended up buying this house online when I was doing it, because I was across the thing and I had seen it done so many times. But up there, we would go and look at houses all day long. We'd call every time we get to the house. We call, can we come in and see it? Oh, it just sold. Can we come in and see it? Just sold. Can we come in and see it? Just sold. Day after day after day after day. Every freaking house was being bought up. There was no possible way for any of us to be able to buy houses, because they were all being bought up by contractors or people who wanted to rent them out. It's just this selfish gluttony that people have continually. It's the people who buy into the system, who don't care about other people. Like these contractors, they've bought into their get-rich-quick schemes. And, like I'm sure this one who is trying to cram 300 houses in lives out on acreage, no neighbor in sight. And, because he's reached that pinnacle. He doesn't have to be in a sardine can. He can go out there. He's made all his money. Doesn't matter if he's making money unethically. And, I'm sure whatever's going on behind us with this house and whatever they're doing, it's a lot of noise. I've been hearing them cutting things down, like if they're cutting down trees. And the neighbor next to me, she thinks they're going to put up 2 places, like pull in another trailer, sell both the places. She doesn't think they're going to rent them out because you can make so much money flipping them. But you're not going to make any money flipping it if the economy crashes while you're trying to pull your scheme. And a lot of schemes are going to, that's how the rug will be pulled out from under them. And it needs to happen. And I don't mean to be like, haha, I wish bad on you. No. Everything has to flip. We have to stop. We have to stop this greed, and we have to stop all this consumerism and unethical practices. We need to really start building real communities where it is back to where people know each other, that they socialize, that they have mutual respect. You don't have to be the same people to allow others to live their life without you telling somebody. I saw a thing today and I thought it was really good. I could see the woman's point for sure, but she was, I don't know, I don't know if she was a news person or a politician or what she was, but she was very angry. And she was saying that she was so sick of Christians telling her what she needs to do because they believe in the Bible and they quote the Bible, and the Bible is their guidebook that they live by, but that they are telling her that she needs to live by it when she doesn't believe in it. She doesn't believe in and that's one thing, is where people need to allow other people to not believe in their religion. And this is something I struggled with for so long, back in the day, when I pulled free from Christianity and I said, I don't align with that. I don't believe it. I don't think that that's true. I don't believe a God would make us, would send us to hell. I don't believe that a God would send all these people to hell because they didn't claim Jesus as their only begotten son or whatever the magic words are. I was like, I don't believe that. And so I pulled free from that whole system. I was like, no, I'm going to believe what I believe in my own heart. And there was so much bullying for so long, as people use the Bible to bully people, to crush other people. It's like, why can't everybody just believe what they believe? Why do we have to try and force people to believe something that they don't align with? And why is it that book is allowed to dominate like this? where so many people can use it as a weapon against other people. So I could completely understand where she was coming from. She was talking about her rights to kill her baby. You know, like if she wants to do that, it's up to her. It's not up to anybody else, which is true. That is her stuff that she's going to have to live with. And it has nothing to do with any of the rest of us. And that is always something that I can see and understand. When people do things, even when people would fuck me over and people would be like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like, I just know the universe takes care of that stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that people do that when they have to replay it back, when they have to go in and experience, it's very painful. There's nothing that I can do that's going to be as painful as what somebody's going to do to themselves. And no matter what, people can think, what they want about life and death and stuff. But I know for sure that there is life after death, because this isn't even real. Where we are normally in death is what's real. This is all just an illusion. But when you come in to understand yourself, and then you go out for your review to go over and, see what you did and how you acted and how you affected other people, and you go in and you see yourself as being somebody who is causing pain, you feel that pain. Like, you really cannot get away. People think they can get away with stuff. Oh, nobody's watching. I can go do this. I can do that. Nobody's all the wiser, but you will always face yourself. So you don't have to stress out like, oh, that person, I got to get even. I need revenge. They should have never done that. That's ego. You don't need to get your ego all built up. Oh, how dare them hurt me? Oh, fuck them. You don't need to worry about that, because they are going to have to face themselves. And facing yourself is, even when people sit there and say about near-death experiences and stuff, and they're like, talk about when they died and come back and stuff, a lot of them even feel the judgment. But there's nobody judging you. There's nobody out there who's judging you. You're judging yourself, but they feel like it's their guides or something. Well, you are your higher self. So if you understand that your higher self would be there with you, like you are an extension of your higher self, so that being could be there going through the whole thing with you. It depends. But those people always feel like this guides are judging them. Some people think of it as like angels or different things are judging them. No, the judgment comes from you, yourself, because your soul does not want to hurt others, and it causes great pain and distress to your soul to realize that it has caused pain on someone else. The thing is people get all wrapped up and caught up in their own experience, their own story. And, just like anybody could be pushed into doing anything. Like anything could cause somebody to kill somebody. Even if I say, oh, I would never kill anybody. Well, if somebody comes in here and starts attacking me, I'm going to fight for my life. One of us will die. I'm going to fight for my life. And so, you can push me into murder. You can push me into, if somebody would have if somebody hurt Stella, I would have no problem hurting them. If somebody hurt my kids, I would have no problem hurting them. Everybody has something that they can be pushed into doing. And so we're all here to experience that, to understand ourselves. It's kind of weird. Is right here, that looks like an eye, a nose, and a mouth. I don't know what it looks like if you can see really good. But it's kind of weird because I feel like there's this Wolfman over my shoulder that is listening to me. But the whole world, everything is real. All of this stuff, there is things, there is beings, or everything is around us. This is just an illusion. And there's so much around us. But anyways, that's so trippy. While I was sitting here talking, I kept feeling it, and I was like, I'm just gonna say, like, that looks like Wolfman is sitting here over my shoulder watching me. It's so funny. But anyways, you know, there's a bunch of stuff I said. I don't even know if anything made any sense. But I do know that we are in for big changes. I do know that we don't have to go in and be the judge and jury for people, that they're going to suffer their own pain. The people who are going to be going down now, like, there's going to probably be a lot of sadness about it. I mean, there's going to be a lot of justice where we're all going to be like, yes, you know, good, finally. And certain people, when we see them all going down, which I don't even think it's going to be in real time. I think it's going to be footage, because everything we live off of is footage. So I think it's going to be us, you know, seeing these filmed tribunals or whatever. But I think there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be really sad. People that didn't even know that they were playing a part in such a rotten thing, because people are motivated by they're not in touch with themselves enough to really know what they're doing. They're just motivated by the system and expectation and what they believe or think is right or wrong. But see, they're here to learn about that. So there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have some really there's going to be some hard stuff that's coming. No doubt about it. Really hard stuff. And I know we're all anxious to get to this part of justice. And I'm very anxious to get to the part of justice and the turning, the pendulum to swing back. I'm super excited about it. But it is definitely going to be a lot of pain. And it has to happen so that we can start the healing. Because the only way to have this new world is to have healed people. There is no new world as long as we keeping this old one alive. And that's all that's going on right now, is we're just keeping it alive. We're watching it. We're participating in its destruction. And we're witnessing it all. And whatever's going to happen about this, you know, hopefully, I'm hoping that stuff starts coming out about who the real person in charge is, and all of these things that Joe has done is going to become obsolete. So all these contracts and stuff that he's making with these evil people, I don't know. Hopefully that will be, you know, the WHO can't come in if there's a different leader. So hopefully it will go like that. Hopefully it won't be like, you know, the UN's going to be in here. We're going to have civil war. Who knows? I don't know how far this has to go. It's up to the people. If we could get more and more people to realize that once we see the evil that we're dealing with, how to combat the evil is using the light, focusing on the positive, and being excited about life, being excited about the potential, about where we're headed, and letting them all is, I kind of see them as in that vampire movie, you know, when they put the stake in their heart and they turn into dust, or when the sun touches them and they turn into dust. That's what they're all going to be doing. But there's so many people who feel like that they need to, you know, watch every single thing that happens. There's so much stuff going on that I didn't even know was going on. I only see it when I go on TikTok because there's so much outrage. There's so many people freaking the fuck out. And, but I just feel like the more that we let go of it, the more that it's an energy that we need to really start understanding. And it's about the energy and how we direct the energy. And the more that we can pull it free from the system and redirect the energy into a positive way, you know, and it's happening, but it's part of the misleading with this phony spiritual bullshit too, because people don't really understand about spirituality and about the path to enlightenment and what it really is. And, it's a real, true relationship. It is truly a trinity, this mind, body, spirit, this connection you have to your higher self and to the universal consciousness that we all come from. So, there's a lot for people to still learn. And so it just seems like it's going to keep going kind of slow, because there's so much for people to start understanding. I mean, even when you got people who think they're spiritual and they are, they're still part of the system. They're still, I don't know. There's so much with, it is, like trying to pull free, but the glue is still there, keep pulling people back and pulling people back. But, it's all going to happen. It all is going to be. People are going to pull free. And we are going to move in another direction. And it is quite tedious. And there is, so much absurdity happening. And so much, the criminals are just highlighted to us right now. Like these contractors out here destroying communities instead of really building them up. The people who have money are constantly just trying to build themselves up. Just make it all about them and just forget about the little guys, forget about everybody else. But we are the world. We are everything. They have nothing without us. So they want to make us all just, like we don't matter. They can just discard us. They can eat our babies. They can, make us sick. But without us, they don't even have anything. They cease to exist. So we have to know our own power. We have to see that we're everything for them. So of course they're going to fight like hell to keep us under control. But it's not going to happen. I mean, people are waking up. People are seeing the truth. And people are pulling free from the system every day. But anyways, I do think something big is going to probably happen this week. Even though I say that all the time. Every week. This week. This is the week. But each week just builds into the next week. Each week gets more. Each time something doesn't happen, it just makes it more intense. It's like another big old truck is headed for the collision. It just keeps adding on bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, how big is this going to get? Is there going to, how it's rolled so slow? Is it going to be something small that's just going to cause everything else to start exposing itself? Just like the difference between if the UN comes and we have civil war right here, or if, they say, hey, this guy's the real leader and he puts a stop to it. There's a big difference in how those things play out and how dramatic they are. And it seems to me that it's us. We're the ones making the decisions. But so many people don't know. They don't know how to direct their energy. They don't understand that they are creating what they fear. So they still stay focused on it. So, I don't know. It's, it's definitely out of a lot of our hands because it's the collective. It's what the collective needs to experience to move into this new realm of existence. So anyways, I've been talking and talking. I don't even know if I said anything that made any sense. But the David Wilcock thing was good. he just cracks me up. It just is funny. But he does say a lot of good stuff, and he is going to talk more about, he didn't even get to the whole thing about the solar flash. So he's going to talk more about that next week, supposedly. But anyways, as long as I have power and electricity, internet, whatever, then I will record. They've definitely out here where I'm at have just kept it so eerie. It's just so dark and wet and cold and just creepy. I wish I was just out on an island with the ocean. I turn the ocean waves on my TV, but I don't know. I just know we'll get through this and everything is going to change and life is going to be so much better. you know, because we're going to be living the truth. We're going to be actually getting healed and actually living to our full potential. But there's a lot to learn to get there. So anyways, I will go and I will talk to you later. Bye.